Alright, good morning everyone, and welcome to my video. I hope you all are having a beautiful day. If you're new here, welcome. I'm Sydney, and I appreciate you taking the time to listen to me yap. I'm trying something new right now with a pre-scripted video, so let me know your thoughts on how this goes. Okay, so if you're on the same side of the internet as me, you've probably seen a lot of buzz about how later this year we're likely to enter into a super El Niño event. So, what does that mean? El Niño is a phenomena that occurs when the sea surface temperature for the Pacific Ocean near the equator is higher than usual for a prolonged period of time, typically about 9 to 12 months, but it can last as long as 3 to 4 years. It makes up half of the climate pattern known as ENSO, or El Niño Southern Oscillation. The other half is La Niña, which is unusually cool sea surface temperatures in the same region. Currently, there is a projection for a large El Niño event to occur later this year, which would have wide-ranging impacts on the rest of the year and at least all of 2027. As of May 30th, NOAA's Climate Prediction Center states that there is an 82% chance that El Niño will emerge in May through July of 2026. Additionally, according to aggregated climate models, there is an estimate of 2.2 degrees Celsius of sea surface temperature warming by September of this year, which would qualify as a super El Niño. Surface temperature warming would likely continue to increase after September, as El Niño conditions typically peak between November and January. Now, why is this a source of concern? El Niño occurrences have a significant impact on global climate because anomalous sea surface temperature warming in the Pacific weakens the easterly trade winds and shifts the atmospheric deep convection eastward, which in turn alters global atmospheric circulation. The effects of El Niño typically result in increased tropical storms in the Pacific, increased rainfall and flooding in certain areas, and drought and dryness in others. These droughts can contribute to increased wildfires. Changes in climate pattern can also affect agricultural and economic production. This, coupled with an increase in extreme weather, can negatively impact many ecosystems and human communities. For example, the El Niño of 1877 played a key role in fueling persistent and severe droughts in Asia, Brazil, and Africa, which led to widespread crop failure and global famine that killed more than 50 million people, which was about 3.5% of global population at the time. There are concerns that a super El Niño this year could negatively impact crop production, especially corn, rice, and wheat production in Asia and Australia. Needless to say, there are already issues with current agricultural supply chains, such as the Strait of Hormuz closures causing fertilizer shortages, which makes increased pressure on the agricultural supply chain a significant cause of concern. Additionally, if you care about the economy, El Niño is pretty bad for that too. It is estimated that the last super El Niño, which occurred from 2015 to 2016, ultimately cost the global economy $3.9 trillion US dollars. It is also very important to note that the effects of El Niño and anthropomorphic climate change can exacerbate each other due to the compounding effects of oceanic and atmospheric warming. For example, an El Niño developed in 2023 played a significant role in making 2024 the hottest year on record, and it is estimated that this year's El Niño could be stronger than 2023's, and it could cause global temperatures to rise more than 2.7 degrees Fahrenheit or 1.5 degrees Celsius above pre-industrial levels in 2026 and 2027. This would only increase the effects of global greenhouse gas emissions in our atmosphere. Now, allow me to read out a non-comprehensive list of all the negative impacts of greenhouse gas emissions, aka human-driven climate change. Hotter temperatures, more severe storms, more intense rainfall and associated flooding in some regions, and more intense drought in others. Sea level rise causing coastal erosion and more frequent and severe coastal flooding. Melting of glaciers and ice sheets, permafrost thaw, loss of seasonal snow cover, and loss of summer Arctic sea ice, warmer oceans, ocean acidification, and coral bleaching, agricultural shortages and crop failures, loss of species and biodiversity, increased risk to human health, and displacement causing climate refugees. This anthropomorphic climate change is overwhelmingly caused by the emission of carbon dioxide, and the emission of carbon dioxide is unfortunately only increasing. Now, I'm making this video because while there is unfortunately not much we can do to prevent the likely Super El Niño event later this year, the actions we take now can have an impact on the severity of these ENSO patterns in the future. While the El Niño Southern Oscillation is a natural climate phenomena, the negative effects are being exacerbated by the human-driven climate change caused by CO2 emissions. So, it is important that we, as people, make educated decisions now for the betterment of the future. While it may seem hard to make an impact on an individual level, there are things we can all do in our everyday life in order to make an impact. First, try to reduce consumption, especially of single-use or unnecessary items. For example, bring a reusable water bottle with you instead of using bottled water or disposable cups. Bring silverware with you to the office or to a fast casual restaurant. Bring a reusable cup to your local coffee shop when treating yourself on Saturday morning. These changes will become easier over time and can add up to saving a large number of single-use items from landfill. Additionally, reduce consumption of items like clothes, especially from fast fashion companies like Shein, Target, Amazon, etc. Shop for higher quality, ethically made pieces with natural materials that will instead last you a long time. Second, when you do buy something, shop local and handmade if possible. I'm lucky enough to have a farmer's market close by where I've been getting a large part of my groceries lately, such as fruits, vegetables, baked goods, prepared foods, and even kombucha. The food is fresher, and I feel good about supporting my local community instead of mega corporations who most definitely do not need my money. As an added benefit, a lot of the vendors that I go to will take back used glass jars and bottles in order to reuse them, which also reduces waste. I highly recommend looking up any farmers markets near you and, if you can, spending the extra effort and money to make a more ethical shopping choice. Shopping local is also not just for groceries. Things like home goods, artwork, clothing, and more can typically be sourced locally, either from, artisans, local shops, thrift stores, or hand-me-downs from friends and family. It is a little extra effort, but supporting your local economy is important. Plus, I always think it's cooler when household items have a backstory, and I personally don't believe that being ordered from a dropshipper on Amazon qualifies as a backstory. Third, changing your diet can in fact have a large impact. A lot of people discuss the energy and water use of the fast fashion and artificial intelligence industries, both of which I am staunchly not a fan of. However, the animal agriculture industry also has a very large environmental impact, especially for factors such as land and water usage. I'm a vegetarian of more than a decade for ethical reasons, but it is worth considering eliminating or reducing meat consumption for environmental reasons as well, and I urge you to think about ways in which you could reduce meat in your diet. I would also reduce processed foods, both from a health and screw megacorporations perspective. Try to incorporate more minimally processed whole foods into your diet, locally sourced if possible. Finally, be vocal about issues related to climate change. Support local and national policies that will reduce carbon dioxide emissions and help to mitigate the effects of climate change. Talk to your friends and family, try to spread a conservation mindset, and vote with your money by trying to make more ethical and sustainable purchases. After all, we are all in this together, and this is our only planet. Okay, if you've made it this far, thank you so much for watching. This is new for me, and I appreciate you sticking around to hear my thoughts. Also, I put my little microphone on this bird identification card. I thought it'd be fun to do a little bird of the day. So this bird is the California scrub jay and is the large boisterous jay of the western coastal woodlands. So yeah, and now that I'm done, I hope you all have a beautiful rest of your day. Peace and love. Thank you for watching. Bye.